To understand the movie Futuro Beach, you have to understand what most of the reviews are saying is not the message of the film. Almost every review I've read since I became infatuated with Futuro Beach and the story and the breathtaking music and the visuals, the cinematography, the naturalism, the novelistic appeal, and the poetic nature of the film was that it was a hyper masculine piece of art, that it was a great presentation of masculinity. That is not what the movie is about. The movie is about class. There's even a scene when Donato, in the second chapter, there's 3 of the film, while in Germany, walks into a classroom where he sees that even the most impoverished German Berliner child learns about physics. Donato, slowly, as the chapter is written, I think it's something like a man and a half, realizes his attachment to this planet, to this world, to this life, to this plane is one of detachment. He comes from Brazil, a country that is more than, full of slums and favelas and a lot of really rich people and not much else. People that are ignored, invisible people. People that since the Rio Olympics never had social programs to fix their teeth or to help them with nourishment. So many athletes, a tennis player I knew of, pro ladies player, couldn't compete at Wimbledon because she didn't have the nutrition. She was starving. Her family was starving. And the movie is so beautiful. This scene right here is so beautiful. Donato goes to Germany and he sees that people have attachments. They have families. And even the lowest person on the totem pole has a life and liberty and freedom. And it's just so clear to him that if he goes back to Brazil, he would just be floating in a country that doesn't respect or love him. Not so much a country, but a place, a state of being. And that's what the movie's about. It's about the people that live in the third world, the second world, the bottom of the second world, that have families that are struggling. His mother was dying, his brother has no future, his sisters move away, and that's the only way they can have a life. And Donato is an artistic thinker. He meets Conrad, and the moment he meets Conrad in this very tragic event, he becomes completely changed. His molecules change. His way of looking at the beauty of the world changes. He wants more. He wants to know more. And he seeks a spiritual truth. And only away from his homeland and his situation and his status does he see how much he matters not, simply because of location, 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 and his birth. Right. At one point, Conrad says, "You see too much death." And as we follow Donato in Berlin, he sees structure and character and charm within everyone. It's a really important film for people to watch, to understand what it is like to leave your home and your ailing family and possibly never speak to them again or see them again or know their fate because you're lost in the wind. And that's what Donato is. He realizes his own truth and he can only see it from afar, and he can't stand that Conrad has been born to this privilege, and he doesn't even understand or respect or love it the way that Donato does. And it's only a perspective that someone like Donato could ever have. And that's the beauty of this story. When they ride off in the end to the fog, it's almost like a detachment. It's almost saying, I am at peace with this. I detach from this experience, and now I'm ready to move into the fog, into the mist, into the oblivion, or whatever's next. Because there's so much here that isn't me. And the use of water and the fluid movement through the film is part of this. The first chapter, he meets Conrad in a very violent, traumatic situation, and they have an instant connection. In the third chapter, all of that's broken, and it can only be healed when the brother, the young one, comes to look for his brother, who he looked up to as a god, almost, or at least a superhero. Aquaman and Speed Racer, if you've seen the film, you understand what that means. He worshipped his brother. His brother was all he had, and he saved until he could go to Germany and find him, just to know if he was still alive. Because, unlike Donato, Ayrton doesn't understand the world and doesn't seek to understand it in a profound way. He just wants to go from day to day, from high to high. And Donato cannot make peace with his status. And that's what this movie's all about. It's a tragic, poetic, naturalistic, novelistic film. And it's so artful, I can't even